My fiance got a face tattoo without telling me or any of our family. She has a high-paying job in finance which she will now get fired from. I think she has gone insane. My fiance, Kim, I have just learned is completely insane. She took some days off work this week, sick, and avoided seeing most people in person. She claimed she was feeling sick and just wanted to stay home alone. She has never given me any indication that she would lie about this in the 6 years we've been together. No one in her family had any worries because she was a stable individual who would never do anything crazy. She got a freaking face tattoo. She took 3 sick days from work to recover from the fact that she got a face tattoo. She told no one of this plan beforehand. I have never in our time together been talked to about tattoos by Kim. She showed no indication that she was even interested in getting any. I was not even the first to learn. Her sister visited her because she got worried after Kim canceled meeting with her for lunch on her 3rd day, sick, and got the grand reveal. She didn't tell anyone beforehand because she didn't want to be talked out of it, and hid the results because the swelling and redness were so bad that we would react badly and not be able to understand the artistic meaning. Kim is Asian American. She got Japanese symbols going down her forehead and under her eye. I don't know the meaning of them. I don't really know if I care to know the meaning of them. Kim's parents are Japanese immigrants. According to her sister, who was nice enough to inform me of this whole debacle, this is a big no-no in Japanese culture. Tattoos have links to crime and are looked down upon. Her parents are beside themselves, and that is a whole other set of drama I can't even begin to approach. Kim talked to me last night about it, and acted offended and started a fight because I told her it was absolutely insane of her to do this. She works a public-facing job. She talks face-to-face with clients in the financial industry. The minute her boss finds out, the career that she went to school for will be over. She actually didn't consider her job, or family, or me at all and decided, a long time ago, she was going to express herself freely without any concerns. I'm worried about her right now. This is not normal. She blocked my number after our fight and is ghosting me and her sister because we're trying to help. But dear Lord, this is far beyond me. I cannot comprehend what I'm even supposed to do right now. Kim's lost her mind. Is there any chance I will be happy married to this? A woman who went and got a face tattoo and hid that fact because she knew we would all talk her out of it. Dear Lord, I really need to run, don't I? Edit, wow, this got some attention, huh? I read through the replies, but I can't really respond to all of you, so I'll just update here. The engagement is pretty much off. Kim has told me she never wants to see me again, and I woke up this morning with a ring and a box of stuff I gave her on my porch. I don't know what's going on with her. Her sister and family have been trying their best, but nothing on their end is working. I brought up to her sister the idea this is a mental breakdown, and they are looking into getting her help. It's painfully slow, considering Kim is not responding to anything and is refusing to talk to anyone. I really don't know what to say here, I guess. To answer some questions, Kim is 29, and I'm 28. In the 7 years I've known her, she has never acted like this at all. She had a good relationship with her parents, and while they were a bit overbearing at times, they supported her in going to college and getting a career rather than starting a family. From what I've gathered, they probably would have been fine with any tattoos she got as long as it was not on her face, neck, or hands. Even then, this kind of behavior is as far from Kim as I could have imagined. She just lost her mind out of nowhere. It's not like I can do anything about it either. She's blocked my number and does not want to see me. I'm just at a loss for words. One day I'm engaged, and the next I'm not, and my ex has a face tattoo. Update 8 months later. About 9 months ago, my ex-fiance, Kim, got a face tattoo without telling anyone. This was just the start of her doing everything she could to ruin her life. She broke up with me and called off our 7-year relationship when I questioned why she did this. She worked in a client-facing job for an incredibly large financial institution and was let go within a month of showing back up for work after getting the tattoo. I kept in contact with Kim's sister hoping for some news. They tried to get her help, as they thought she was having some kind of psychotic break. However, she eventually called the police on her own family claiming they were harassing her. After that, I decided to just walk away. Kim didn't just destroy her own life. When she broke up with me, I felt numb. I knew this wasn't Kim doing this. I wanted to believe deep down that Kim was always like this. Always this impulsive crazy who would ruin her life by getting a face tattoo. I tried to convince myself that I had not lost a wonderful woman who I had spent 7 years of my life with. However, the person who made these choices was not Kim. The woman who told me over the phone she hated my guts for not supporting her. The woman who wrote she hated me and only ever stayed with me out of pity. That was not the woman I asked to marry. That was not Kim. That was someone who I came to find out was having a mental breakdown. That resulted in months of bad decisions that will affect the rest of her life. The day I walked away and told her sister I could not deal with it anymore was the worst day of my life. It hit me like a train. The numbness and denial of what I lost hit me all at once. I almost quit my own job and moved back home to my parents. I can only thank my boss for being so understanding that she let me take 4 weeks off to deal with what happened. She and the rest of my team went far beyond what should ever be expected of coworkers and management that it makes me realize how close I was to leaving a job I actually enjoy. I never moved on from Kim, but I came to accept what had happened. I thought I was okay, until 2 weeks ago. I got a call from Kim. She had blocked my number, and done everything she could to remove me from her life. My mind just blanked when I saw it was her calling. I picked up, and it was actually her. We didn't talk, I did not know what to say to her. We decided she would come over to my place, and we talked. The tattoo is still there, but she's covering it up now with makeup. She says when she has the funds she's going to look into getting it removed if possible. She had lost a lot of weight since I last saw her. She's not been able to find a new job, she'll probably need to move to a new city for that. She wasn't the Kim I had fallen in love with. She was like a shell of her, something just wasn't there anymore that used to be. Kim told me what had happened. The year leading up to the tattoo was awful for her. The stress of everything seemed to pile up more and more. I'll respect her, and keep much of what she told me secret. However, the thing that is important is that she secretly started doing methamphetamines to keep her performance up at work and to deal with everything. And one day, she just out of nowhere decided she hated everything about her life. She explained why at the time she wanted the tattoo. It doesn't really make much sense, but a lot of what she was thinking at the time didn't. And from there, she just lost control of everything. I won't talk about what happened after she disappeared, but it is not pretty. There are things she did that will follow her for the rest of her life. It explained a lot, but it did not make things any better. We talked for nearly the entire night. She didn't leave my place till almost 4 a.m. Since then, she said that she wants to try and get back together with me. She admitted she knows things cannot be the same. Yet, she wants to try. I haven't talked to anyone about what I'm about to say yet. I've held off on talking to Kim about it because it feels selfish. But there's something about the way Kim acts about the way it affected my life that irks me. When we talked that night, she said that I was lucky she cut me off. I was lucky I didn't get put through any of this. I was lucky that my crazy ex wasn't at my door screaming or showing up to my work and causing a scene. She acts like my life wasn't affected at all. I told her what happened after she left. How much it hurt, how I almost quit my job and moved across the country. Her response was dismissive. Like because I didn't go through with that I don't get to complain. She acted like because I was not the one with the tattoo on her face, I don't get to act like it had long-lasting effects on me. She didn't even apologize for the explicit and hateful note she left with my things when she returned them. Or for the phone call where she called me a manipulative, selfish asshole who only wanted her for her body. Or even just for breaking up with me. She knows she was wrong to do it, but it's almost as if she's acting like because she had a breakdown, I can't hold her accountable for what she did to me because it wasn't long-lasting. I texted her last night, saying how hard it was for me when she left. She ignored it entirely and tried to move on. No acknowledgement at all. I don't know why, but it hurt me. It hurt me so much. I feel like I did back when all those emotions finally hit me after she left. I wish she had just never come back into my life now. I wish I didn't know what happened. I wish I hadn't picked up the call. Because it hurts. But a part of me feels like I'm being selfish or complaining too much. That I don't get to feel this way, because I'm not the one who had the mental breakdown. Story 2. My wife has been spending a lot of time with her gay best friend. She even referred to him as her soulmate, which crushed me. My wife, Em, met her best friend, Chuck, in high school. They became close friends and Chuck came out to Em as gay. Em was supportive. A year or so later, Chuck came out to his parents. They disowned him and kicked him out, and Chuck ended up living with Em and her parents for the rest of high school. Em and I started dating after college, and she told me all about Chuck and how close they were, and how he was like a brother. I met Chuck and we got along and became friends. Chuck is a good guy. At the time Chuck was dating a guy, they ended up moving in together about the same time that Em and I got engaged. Em and I have been married for 5 years now. I'm a project manager and took on a year-long project in another city. I have to leave at 5:30 a.m. every morning and get home around 6:30 p.m. Em and I had a long talk about my job before I took on this project. We knew it would be a sacrifice for me to be working so much, but I'm getting more money than I ever thought I would. After this project we can pay off our student debt and start trying to have a baby. We both agreed the money was worth it, since it's only a year. That year would be up in late November. In March, Chuck caught his boyfriend cheating. He was devastated. Em immediately told him he could move in with us. I was fine with him moving in, but not happy that Em didn't even discuss it with me first. Chuck was pretty broken up and Em was giving him lots of love and attention. I was fine with it, because I know how much she loves Chuck and he did need her. I also did my best to support him and make him feel loved. For a while this was fine, but as time went on Em has continued to pour all of her attention into Chuck. Sometimes I get home from work and neither of them are there, and I found out they went to a movie or out to dinner together. I don't think there is anything romantic or sexual between them, but it has been annoying that I get left out of all the plans. The past few weeks several things have happened. The three of us went to a party, and someone joked about Chuck being our third wheel and Em said, "Chuck is not the third wheel." I said, "What?" And she said, "I've known Chuck longer than I've known you." A week or so after that Em and Chuck went out dancing one night. I had to work the next day so I stayed home. I woke up at about 3 a.m. and Em was not in bed. I went and found her and Chuck cuddled up on the couch asleep with the TV on. Both of those things made me uncomfortable. I also realized I had been working so much I was just sort of letting Em and Chuck plan everything, and I had not planned a date night in a while. I decided I needed to be more active, and so I planned a date night for last Friday. When I first told Em, she was excited, as we have not been on a date, just the two of us, in a while. Friday I got home at 6:30 and Em and Chuck were not there. I took a shower and got ready. About 7:15 I finally called Em, as we had reservations at 8. She answered, and when I asked where she was she said her and Chuck had gone shopping and were getting some dinner. I was kind of stunned and asked about our date. She laughed and said, "Oh, I forgot. Oh well." And that was that. She didn't even invite me to join them. So, a point I should make here. My dad was very controlling of my mom and had an anger problem where he would yell and throw things. He never threw things at us, but it was still scary as a kid. I have worked very hard to not be like him. I've tried to never be controlling of Em or tell her what to do. I also tend to shut down when I get angry. When Em forgot our date I was mad, so I didn't say anything right then, but I knew I needed to address how I was feeling. So later that evening I told her we needed to talk. I had written down some things so I could stay focused. I started by saying that I loved Chuck and he was always welcome in our home, but that I felt like our marriage was suffering and we needed to work on us. Em blew up. She thought I was attacking Chuck. I guess I didn't word things well, and she started defending him and attacking me. We have never had a big fight before, we always talk and work things out. I was stunned that she was attacking me. She said some awful things. Then she said, "Chuck is my soulmate, and you just have to get used to that." I just shut down. I didn't even know how to process that. I love Em more than anything in the world, but in that moment I realized she loves Chuck more than she loves me. I thought Em and I were soulmates, but to hear her say she considers someone else her soulmate has been devastating. I don't remember the rest of the talk. She huffed off after a while and slept on the couch. Her and Chuck left together on Saturday and were gone most of the day. When they got back she acting like nothing had happened. On Sunday she even made a small joke and batted her eyes at me, something she does when she's flirting with me. Normally I love it, but this time it just made me sick. I told her this was a busy week at work and I was just going to stay at a hotel near the job site, something I have done a few times before, so I haven't seen her since Sunday night. I don't know what to do. Typing all of this up has made me realize I am really burned out with all of this travel. Maybe I checked out too much and haven't given her enough attention. But how do I move forward knowing she will never love me as much as I love her? Minor update. Seeing a bunch of comments from women who say they have more than one soulmate has given me hope. To me you only have one soulmate, but that's not a word Em or I ever really use, and I just really hope she means it different than how I took it. We have been texting back and forth some this week, and we spoke on the phone last night. It wasn't anything big, she just called and said she missed me and couldn't wait until I got home. I'll be home tonight. I told her we should talk about our fight last Friday and she agreed and said she hates that we fought and we need to work it out. She said she loves me. We will be talking tonight and I guess I'll find out where I stand. Update 1. I made my first post on Thursday. When I took the time to think about it all and type it all out, I realized how burned out I have been with this work project. Friday morning I met with my team and scheduled some time off coming up soon. I'm in a much better headspace just knowing I have that downtime soon. Em and I had our fight on a Friday night, then I left on Monday and stayed out of town all week for my project. During that time we did text back and forth every day and we talked on the phone a few times. It was awkward because we both knew we needed to have a big talk, but over the phone was not the time or place. Em texted me this Friday and said Chuck was gone for the weekend so we could spend time just the two of us, and that she wanted to make up for our missed date. I got home Friday evening and we agreed to talk before doing anything else. I had written out everything I wanted to say and she sat and listened. We talked for a long time and we each went back to some things to get clarification, so I'm not going to try and replay everything we said, just the main parts in the way that makes the most sense. I told her how I didn't like her joke about me being the third wheel, and how much it hurt that she forgot our date, and then how crushed I was that she said Chuck was her soulmate. There were some other little things too. When I was done, she said she was sorry, and she was wrong for saying those things. She said I am not the third wheel and I am her soulmate, and she asked if she could explain why she did and said what she did. When Chuck's parents first kicked him out in high school, he was in a bad place and had considered taking his life. He told Em's mom and they got him help. So when Chuck called in March about his boyfriend cheating on him, Em had freaked out and was afraid he was going to hurt himself. She said she felt like she needed him close so she could watch him and keep him safe. I had made a comment about how for the past 6 months it seems like her and Chuck were living their best life together, and she said that she has been miserable this whole time, that she has been on the verge of a nervous breakdown. After our fight, she knew she was wrong and realized she needed to get help and let it go. She talked with Chuck and he promised that he was a stronger person than he was in high school and promised that he was not even thinking about hurting himself. They agreed it was best if he moved out, both to give Em and I time to work on us, and so Em wouldn't be obsessing over when he was coming and going. Em wanted to talk to me last Sunday, but I had said I needed time, and she wanted to give me space. It was a long talk with lots of tears. She apologized a bunch of times. She said she was so concerned with Chuck's mental health that she attacked me because she thought I was going to make him move out, and she was lashing out. She acknowledged that she hurt me and said she loves me and she wants to work on herself and find ways to deal with fear and worry in a healthy way. We have never really had a big fight before, and we both agreed we could have handled it better, her by not lashing out, and me by not shutting down. We agreed to start couples counseling to help us learn how to disagree in a more healthy way. We were both emotionally drained after the talk, so we just ordered some food and stayed in. We cuddled in bed to watch TV, talk, and just be together. We have missed each other a lot these past few months, and it was really nice to just hold her. The next day, Saturday, we took a day date. We went to breakfast, went shopping, saw a movie, and even got pedicures together. My toes look amazing. Several times throughout the day she would just stop and look at me and say she had missed me and she was so sorry she had pushed me away. Today, Sunday, we called Chuck, who was staying with another friend. He said he was sorry he had caused so much stress for Em and me. He acknowledged he had been focused on himself and not even realized that we were not doing well. He said he loved us both and is so grateful that we let him stay while he was getting over his breakup. He is looking at a few places and plans to be out in the next week or two. He did offer to move out right away, but I am okay with him staying a little longer. I think having a plan in place is the most important thing. Our relationship took a hit, but we love each other, and we are going to work on it. We set some boundaries and also agreed to always make each other our top priority. I have a few more months left on this project, but are going to make a point to go on a proper date at least once a week, and reserve some cuddle time on the weekends. Story 3. I had my promotion offer at work retracted because my boss learned I was getting married. Background: 22F. Works for a fast food chain for the past 2.5 years, engaged since May 2019. So back in January, my manager brought me into the office and offered me a promotion. She was relaying the info from the owner. The promotion was to become a shift manager at one of the other restaurants in my city. I would obviously get a pay raise, better hours, more consistent, and various other perks. I initially told her I needed to think about taking it, but I was definitely excited and enthusiastic. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with her to discuss some questions I had about the job, what benefits, where I was working, training, etc. One of my questions was whether it was reasonable to request as part of my new contract to have the week of my wedding off, in August. She said absolutely and would ask the owner for me if that could be written into the contract. Wednesday, I go into her office to ask about any new info or developments. She shut the door and said that the offer had been retracted and I would not be getting the promotion. She explained that the owner had decided to retract the offer after learning I was getting married and that a young woman getting married means she's going to get pregnant. She also said that if you were a man, we would not be having this conversation. I still am, absolutely gobsmacked. It's the first time in my life that I've ever felt sexism or discrimination based on sex in my entire life. I'm so fucking angry. I've essentially now lost my job. Still currently employed there, but I have no desire to continue working there whatsoever. I feel utterly disgusting and somewhat dirty, even though I did nothing wrong. I love working there, and all the people at my restaurant have not done anything to me, but it's the fact that I would be working for an owner that's so blatantly sexist. I've gone and sought legal advice at an equality organization in my city and am waiting for a response from the person in charge. I've also opened a complaint in my company's HR department, who have asked me to contact the owner directly to understand exactly why I haven't got this promotion. They said that my manager may have misunderstood the reason why. Thank you so much for reading. Not sure what outcome I want from all this. I just had to get it off my chest. Update 2 years later. So obviously a lot has happened between my first post on this and this one, so I'll do my best to summarize the past 2 years of my life, TLDR at the end. February 2020, had an in-person meeting with my manager, the owner of the restaurant, franchise, and a supposed mediator. I legally recorded the audio of the meeting. This part is important. I was very unhappy with the outcome of this meeting, felt like no one listened to me and I was bullied by the higher-ups into making this all go away. March 2020, after all this went down, I sought a lawyer at a local union firm, who agreed to take on my case. Due to the laws in my country, Switzerland, my case was classed as a civil one, between two individuals, so there were no criminal consequences and my monetary compensation would be limited to 3 months' salary, as written in Swiss law. Between March and August 2020, lots of back and forth between my lawyer and my ex-employer, basically denying all responsibility, not wanting to do anything, etc. August 2020, again as per Swiss law, a mediation meeting was set up between myself, my boss and the lawyers in front of a judge. The judge was purely there to help keep things civil if necessary, no say whatsoever. This mediation meeting lasted 15 minutes, with my boss lawyer refusing to budge. My boss didn't even turn up to this meeting. Since we couldn't come to an agreement, I was given permission to file a formal case, which meant a judge would hear my case and rule on it. Between August 2020 and May 2021, hardly any news from either side. COVID-D slowed everything to a snail's pace, so I was told to just wait while all the administrative cogs turned. May 2021, the big day. My case was heard in front of a judge, with witnesses called from both sides to testify and lots of evidence filed, from my side at least. My key piece of evidence was this audio recording, in which my boss and manager basically put their foot in it. The judge asked them both to explain themselves, with neither giving very convincing arguments to defend themselves. I stood in court and told my account of the story, staring my boss right in the face. Between May 2021 and February 2022, more waiting. I knew the law was slow, but geez Louise. At this point, I had put the case to the back of my mind. February 7, 2022, my state's civil court ruled in my favor. I won. I took my boss to court over discrimination and a judge found him liable. I won. I can't begin to describe how incredible it feels. I cried on the phone with my lawyer when she called me to tell me the news. It was never about the money, it was always about accountability and acknowledgement. I am so proud of myself for pursuing this despite the odds stacked against me. Discrimination is incredibly hard to prove. Too bad I had that recording, winky face. To all those 2 years ago that commented and supported me, thank you. My ex-employer was found guilty of discriminatory behavior, as so written in Swiss law, and ordered to pay compensation. I know my story is one of thousands out there, with so many of them never receiving the justice or recognition they deserve. But I hope this gives confidence to others. We can do it. Story 4. My boyfriend thinks I cheated on him because I'm pregnant. But I'm a virgin. Yeah, pretty much exactly what the title says. I, 16F, am a virgin, so is my boyfriend, 16M. We're both young, and neither of us are ready for sex. Personally, it's never been high on my radar, and from what he's told me, he's the same way. That being said, we've been together for a couple of years now, so things have still happened. I'd rather not go into detail on that, but you can get the picture. Think third base, I guess. Anyways, a couple of days ago, I went to the doctor because I've been feeling really sick lately. I did a urine test and a finger prick, and my doctor told me I was pregnant. Of course, I laughed at first because I thought she was joking, but no, I'm really pregnant. I kind of fell silent. She started talking about things like ultrasounds, prenatal vitamins, etc. But I cut her off and told her that wasn't possible because I've never had sex, therefore have never conceived. She explained to me that very few women can get pregnant by intercourse, but it's still possible due to vaginal anatomy or something. I was, and still am, in complete and utter shock, so I kinda just left without any further explanation. I had driven myself because both of my parents work. I went straight to my boyfriend's house, and he was the first person I told. I hadn't even texted or called in advance because I was crying, completely distraught. I don't know why, but it didn't even cross my mind that he would think I cheated. I would never do something like that. I explained everything to him about how we never technically had sex, but we got really close, and stuff can happen. He seemed pretty lost until I eventually told him I was pregnant, which is when he, rightfully, got pissed at me because how the F***ck does that even happen without us having had sex? I tried so hard to explain myself and assure him that I'd never do that, ever. I told him I'd take a DNA test or something to prove that, but he didn't believe a word and made me go home. The last thing he told me was, "I really trusted you." He looked like he was about to cry. Now I'm blocked on everything, so I can't text or call explaining myself. I'll respect his decision if he wants to break up, but I need him to know I was never with anyone else. It's been killing me, knowing how hurt he must feel. Luckily, he hasn't told anyone that I'm pregnant because I haven't even told my own parents yet, but he has told people that I cheated on him, and now I'm losing friends and everything's gone to shit. This was already the worst, lowest point of my life, and it seems to be getting worse. I basically locked myself in my room. I feel so depressed. I just need him to know. Update 1. Hi guys. I'm so sorry it took a couple of days to update. Things have been moving wildly slow, and I didn't want to create a whole post for each small thing I had to update. So much has happened. First off, I just want to specify a couple of things, misconceptions as well as some key aspects I didn't do a good enough job explaining. No, my boyfriend didn't yell at me or call me names. He was angry, you could tell, but it was an extremely short conversation, and he was primarily silent. That's the type of person he is. Though we've had very few arguments, he usually goes quiet when he's mad. I'm not saying it was the right way to act at all, but it was understandable in my opinion, as the possibility of this happening was entirely new and confusing to both of us. He also never spread rumors about me, as some people were saying. I want to make that clear. He told his best friend, who told another one of their close friends, and you know how that works. Toxic gossip train. A few of our mutual friends, who are generally closer to him / knew him first, stopped talking to me. Again, that hurts a lot. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I know that if I thought someone had cheated on my friend, I would drop ties with them instantly. I understand things like this seem a lot worse to adults who maybe forget what it's like to be young and immature because we're 16, and that's what we are. I think people also forget that I was making this post very shortly after all of this had happened. He came to my house the morning after I made the post and apologized, explaining that he'd done a lot of research and felt bad for accusing me. He said he still didn't know if he fully trusted me but wanted to at least help me while I went through this because, if anything, we've been best friends since we were small. He came over, and we told my parents together, explaining that I didn't know if it was pregnancy / illness, and I needed to get further testing done. They seemed disappointed that I hadn't told them I was sexually active, but my mom said she was more disappointed in herself for not teaching me about reproductive health. They're being as supportive as they can. So, that all happened. Flash forward to the next day, Monday, I went to the doctor to get more blood testing done. I wanted to update then, but I had to wait until I got the results back today. So far, after a full blood panel, all signs are still pointing to me being pregnant. The comments kind of got my hopes up, thinking it was most likely something else. My doctor explained that there was actually a slightly higher chance of me being pregnant than there was of a false positive because it's generally men with cancer who receive those. I don't know if he was going off of statistics or personal experience though. I'm not sure since there's still not a positive way to know if it's really a pregnancy, so I have an ultrasound scheduled for this Thursday as it was the earliest appointment available. That will be the only way to properly confirm. If the ultrasound confirms that I'm pregnant, then I'm also gonna ask about getting DNA testing as a form of paternity test. Finally, I want to disclaim something. I've lied about a lot of things before. Everyone has. But pregnancy isn't something I would ever touch. There are so many women in this world that want kids but are unable to have them, and I can't imagine what it's like for them to constantly see other people getting pregnant. It feels disrespectful and borderline offensive to lie about something like that, and I would never. I also want to say that I completely understand the people, primarily the ones from TikTok, hi guys, that think I cheated and this is all a cover-up story. I'm not gonna try and win people over because your opinions genuinely don't matter to me. All I'm gonna say is that this is a throwaway account that no one I know follows or has access to, so there would be no reason for any of that. If I actually wanted to convince people, then I would have posted it on my main, which my boyfriend and several other friends follow. Again, no one else but my boyfriend and my parents know about this at all, and I don't want them to. On a more positive note, I'd really like to thank all of the supportive comments and messages I got. They outweighed the negatives by far, and it's incredibly heartwarming and honestly surreal. I didn't expect this at all, but thank you. Truly. I had multiple people message me and offer to pay for things like paternity tests, abortion access, and general expenses, and with each and every message I cried. I can't believe there are such kind-hearted people in the world, but thank you. Me and my parents have this covered, but the offer is enough, and I'm truly grateful for all of it. Hope to keep you guys posted. Update 2. There's not much to say. I got an ultrasound, and yes, confirmed the pregnancy. I was still holding on to a bit of hope that it might be something else, lol. My doctor gave me a referral to go straight to a blood work lab. I have no idea what they're actually called, so me and my boyfriend could do a prenatal paternity test. I'd never gotten a referral that quickly. Usually, you have to wait at least a day, but she sent me over for an appointment just an hour after the ultrasound, which was really great. We did the blood test/saliva swab, and now we just have to wait about a week for the results. Most likely getting an abortion, but still figuring out the safest way to do that out of state. Final update. Hey guys, sorry it's been a while, but I had to wait for results. I tried my best to respond to comments and messages, even on the places this was reposted, but there were lots. Thank you very much to the polite people. The paternity test just came back, and yes, like I kept saying, it was his. The only way it wouldn't have been was if it had been SA, which there was an extremely low chance of. But even so, I'm very grateful that nothing happened to me in my sleep, as some people had suggested. We found a great program that several of you had recommended to me called Plan C. They help provide women in no-abortion states with abortion pills. It was very mentally difficult for me to go through with, but just this morning the pills came, and we used a telehealth doctor to help. I now officially had an abortion, woohoo! I was very on the fence about it, and honestly, I'm not doing too well now, but I know it was the right choice. Now to answer some questions, no, I'm not a bot. I'm also not old. I write well because I want to be an author. Writing has interested me since I was in elementary school, and it's something I work very hard at. I took AP Lang last year and am taking AP Lit this upcoming year, so I'm well educated in that subject. Obviously not so well educated in sex ed, lol. I think some of you are wildly underestimating how articulate teens can be. We're not entirely clueless. Also, I got the paternity test because I could. Some people said it was strange to get one even though I was most likely getting an abortion, but I don't think so. Personally, I believe it was very necessary, and honestly, it wasn't as expensive as I thought it would be. My parents covered it. No, my boyfriend's parents never found out about any of this, and we don't ever want them to. They're not very good/stable people, and my boyfriend plans on going no contact pretty much as soon as he turns 18. Story 5. Am I the a-hole for telling my roommate that I don't give a fudge about her boyfriend's allergies? I, 24F, have been living with my roommate Layla, 25F, for about 10 months. We have a 2-year lease, so I really want to fix this so we're not miserable for the next year, and to start I need to see if I'm in the wrong. Layla started dating Kyle about 6 months ago. Kyle has severe food allergies to shellfish, nuts and soy, as well as a lot of more mild/moderate allergies. I use nuts and soy a lot in my cooking and some occasional shrimp. At first, Layla would tell me that Kyle was coming over and I would just adjust whatever I was planning on making if it was something that would be aerosolized, mostly nuts, and this was fine. He's never had any reactions at our apartment from my food. But it's slowly escalated and now they want me to not keep any ingredient in the apartment that could cause him anaphylaxis, even if I'm not actively eating or cooking it while he's over. I've refused and they both pushed back a lot on it, and I snapped a little and told them I don't give a fuck about his allergies. I can accommodate him to an extent, but I don't care if the contents of my cabinet make him uncomfortable. He doesn't need to be near my things at all. They're being very dramatic and insisting I'm gonna kill him with my selfishness by having closed jars of nuts in the kitchen I pay to use. But I'm not going to have my diet restricted by someone who doesn't even live here. Layla isn't speaking to me at all right now, and I feel a little bad now because I do understand how serious allergies are, but I also think they're overextending boundaries by telling me what I can or can't eat when he's not even here. Update. I sat down with Layla a few days after my initial post and really talked with her about why I felt her and Kyle's request was unacceptable, and I laid out my biggest concerns. I eat mostly plants, so nuts and soy are like 50% of my protein. So my grocery bill would increase because I'd have to make it up in animal products. Who's going to pay for that? I'm not vegetarian, but I don't really want to eat like that, and I definitely don't want to pay for it, so would they make up that increase? I honestly didn't trust them to stop there. I already did what I felt was a reasonable accommodation, and it wasn't enough, so how long till they take coconut, eggs and tomatoes from me too? It was weird AF to ask me in the first place, and I felt really disrespected because this is my home, and I don't take second place to a guest. I can to her, personally of course, but that doesn't extend to the apartment. I said I would agree to continue not using his serious allergens when he was present or soon to be, and that was the line. It didn't go over well at all, and Layla told me I was overreacting and I could just do it, and kept talking over me when I tried to say that I wouldn't. Eventually she slipped up with the, "Well, what if he moved in?" And I said absolutely not, and ended the conversation with her for the night. We argued in circles about it for nearly 2 weeks, and once it was out, she didn't drop it. I realized it wasn't going to get better, so I did what I didn't want to do and told her that I was going to the landlord about breaking my part of the lease, and she freaked out. It's where Kyle's money goes, but apparently he doesn't have any because she was yelling about not being able to afford it on her own, and he couldn't help even if he moved in. I told her that this had gone way too far and I didn't think I could be happy living here with her anymore. If it were easier for her to leave instead, that would be fine too. She was really upset, and I said I wouldn't force her out or leave her suddenly on the lease alone, but it was one or the other. Eventually she accepted it, and decided she would move back in with her dad. That was the end of April, and she's fully moved out as of this week. My childhood best friend Allie has been flip-flopping on moving to my city for forever now, and me calling and saying I had a cheap open bedroom if she came right away got her to finally pull the trigger on it. And it helped Layla out because she didn't have to pay to break the lease since I agreed to cover the full rent at my own risk. Allie has stuff to tie up in our home state still, but she's already sent me half of July's rent. I just gotta squeeze for a little while, but I'll make it. I'm super excited to see her and show her around. Plus we've been cooking together since 4th grade, so that'll be a nice change, lol. And I can get a cat. It's been a bit of a rough couple of months, but I'm very happy with how things are looking right now, so I just wanted to share with you guys. Story 6. Am I the jerk for planning to move out of state for college, leaving my sister, who is a single mother, alone? 18F, have a twin, Mary. We don't have any more siblings. Mary got pregnant when she was 14. She couldn't find the father to tell him she was pregnant, and he is still nowhere to be seen. We have lived with our parents in a 2-bedroom apartment for nearly a decade now. So when Mary gave birth, her baby had to stay in our room. My parents worked more so they could provide for the baby, so it was mostly Mary and I at home taking care of her baby. If I wasn't at school, my parents would demand that I go home and help my sister with her baby. I had no life, no privacy, and no love or attention since my sister had her baby. I know obviously the baby and mother take priority, but I felt so alone. At 14 to 15, it was very hard for me to come to terms with my parents not asking me how I'm doing anymore, not congratulating me on my achievements, coming to my games, taking care of me when I'm sick, etc. I became resentful of Mary and my parents, but I did a pretty good job at never showing them that. I knew the feeling would pass, and it did by the time I was 16. I got at a job at 16, so I had some time to myself outside of school and my niece. My parents then coerced me to contribute almost 80% of wages to help Mary take care of her baby. I've always been a pushover, so I couldn't say no, especially because Mary and the baby did actually need that money. Most of the money my parents made was going to bills, rent, and car payments. Anyway, I told my parents I got into a very good college out of state on a near full scholarship and that I'm planning to go. They asked how I can think it's okay to just leave them to take care of Mary's baby. I asked why I should stay in a shared bedroom with my sister and young niece for my college years. They said not everything is about what I want, and sometimes people make sacrifices for family, as they are doing. Mary jumped into the conversation by saying she wouldn't go off to another state and leave me a single mother alone if the roles were reversed. I said she isn't alone, our parents are here. She said it's not the same because they're always gone for work. Am I the a-hole? Relevant comments. NTA. What are you supposed to do, put your life on hold forever? I actually asked my mom when it would be acceptable for me to leave and live my own life, and she said when Mary isn't a single mother anymore. So I have to wait till she gets a serious boyfriend/husband and move in with him till my duties are done? I'm not willing to do that. More on the sister and why she had the baby. Both her and my parents are against abortion. She wasn't going to get an abortion under any circumstances, and my parents supported her through that because they have the same pro-life views. I don't. The father of her child was a 15-year-old boy she didn't know well. They met for the first time at an amusement park. They were flirting and having fun together for a bit, and ended up having sex in his friend's car a few hours later. She said she didn't enjoy it, so she didn't bother get his number or his full name, and just went home. Hence why we can't find him. All we have is his first name, and we live in a big city. I asked her if he pressured her, and she said she was the one that initiated it actually. So no consent issues there. Someone says they have serious doubts about the sister's story. To be honest, a lot of her story wasn't making sense to me. Like, how does no one else know who this guy is? Their two friend groups were chilling together the whole time, but apparently none of her friends have any of the phone numbers of the guys they were hanging out with all day, or full names at the very least. I do believe that she slept with him within a few hours though. My sister is really impulsive, and she always has been. She started dating her previous boyfriend in a similar manner to this. He was our friend's stepbrother, and she slept with him the first day she met him, and they went on to date for about a year. She said the guy she slept with at the amusement park wore a condom, so she didn't think that it was risky. Does she have trouble with impulse control? She definitely does. If something crosses her mind, she has to do it immediately. Even if I try to talk her out of it, she'll still do it. Once when we were 16, a friend of our parents came for dinner. He held my niece and kept saying how cute she was. My sister told me she thought he was really handsome and she would shoot her shot. She said him holding her baby made her think he would be a good dad. I was like, WTF? I told her to stop messing around. He had a wedding ring on and looked even older than our dad. She got his number from my dad's phone and started texting him. I went through their texts and she was being extremely inappropriate. He blocked her number soon after he realized what she was trying to do. Does Mary have a job? No, she doesn't have a job. She had 2 jobs since the baby, and she got fired from one for stealing and the other for being constantly late. She hasn't tried to get another job since, and the last job was a year ago. More about parents/people say they're proud of OOP. I wanted to tell them when I was applying, but they have issues of interrupting me when I'm talking and or just not paying attention to what I'm saying. When I first brought up looking into colleges, my dad must have interrupted me like 5 times. I just stopped trying to say what I wanted to say. It gets tiring trying to talk to them about myself when it's clear they couldn't care less. They wouldn't be paying attention to what I'm saying, or they'd interrupt me and move on to a different topic. I didn't even bother with telling them about the applications because I didn't want them to brush me to the side again. I don't speak to them much unless it's about my niece or Mary. I told Mary about applying to colleges out of state, but she would be on her phone and just reply with one-word answers. I think she thought I just wouldn't get in. When we were younger, I wasn't that bright. My grades started picking up when I was 14-ish, and that's the time they all stopped paying attention to me, so she didn't know I was doing well in school. Thank you so much, pleading face. Your last paragraph is what I really wanted to hear from my parents. They haven't been proud of me since before my niece was born. Small update post. Just wanted to say thank you to anyone who sees this and gave amazing advice and words of encouragement. I've cried buckets of tears of relief today. Hearing so many of you say I'm doing the right thing and congratulating me got me really emotional. Not to sound pitiful, but I haven't heard that in a while. Didn't realize I needed that validation, lol. Thank you all so much. I think I'll post again when I head off to college in a few months. Update in comments of above post 2 weeks later. I'm doing alright. I'm staying with an aunt in another state till I can leave for college. I made an excuse of wanting to work with her for the summer. She gave me a job at her flower shop and I'm loving it actually. I left because I was so uncomfortable at home. They were giving me the silent treatment and being really cold. They can feel however they want, but I have no intention of staying in such an environment this summer. My aunt is amazing and I'm having a great time with her here. Honestly, no clue if they know who the father is or not. They had many discussions when she was pregnant, and they asked me to leave the room and give them privacy to talk. I don't believe they know who he is, but honestly can't be sure. Longer update post, 3 months since last comment update. Since the post, I went to live with my aunt for the summer, and I was working at her flower shop. She paid me quite nicely, didn't charge rent, or even accept me paying for groceries, so I've saved up basically every penny she paid me. I also worked a bit at a gas station a few nights a week. That's helped a lot as I needed money to get to this state, and have enough to survive till I find a job. My aunt helped me so much, and I don't know what I would have done without her help. I've barely been speaking to my parents or Mary. It's been quite weird. They'll update me about things, but we aren't really speaking and everything is quite tense, lol. Haven't told them that I've left for college and they haven't asked anything about it. It's kind of a bittersweet feeling being here. It seems surreal that I'm even at a college like this, and I don't have to worry about loans and stuff. I'm so grateful I get this chance. But it also feels like I have no family now. My family weren't perfect by any means, but I felt like I had a place there. Somewhere I didn't have to question I belong. I feel kind of out of place here. It would have been so good to have my family cheer me on and give me advice or something. I'm not sure what I should be doing, and I wish my parents would be guiding me through this. But I also wouldn't trade this for anything. I think of being back in the bedroom I shared with Mary and my niece, and it makes me feel like I've definitely made the right choice coming here. Story 7. My fiance cheated on me and I'm pregnant. Pretty much what the title says. My fiance and I have been together 3 years and I love him more than anything. I know 3 years isn't that long, and I've had longer relationships, but mine with him is definitely the most serious by far, and not just because he proposed. I've never loved anyone more than him, and when I fell for him it was a much stronger and intense connection that I've ever had for anyone in my life. I'm only 26, so I know have time find someone else, but I'm so incredibly heartbroken in ways I didn't even imagine I could break. This is by far the worst pain I've ever felt. I don't know how it happened. This was the healthiest relationship I've ever been in, and I was so excited to get married and have our child. He doesn't even know I'm pregnant because his birthday is next month and I wanted to surprise him. There were none of the usual signs like our relationship declining for the past several months. It was like one day the switch just flipped. I noticed he was first off like 2 weeks ago after we came home from my friend's place after hanging out. He seemed distant, but I just chalked it up to him being tired, but then he continued to be a little distant. I know his boss has been on his ass lately about a work project. He's an engineer and I thought he was just stressed about it. These past 2 weeks we haven't been having intimacy either, but that's not out of the normal because when he's really stressed, either with family stuff or work, he isn't usually in the mood. On Friday I went out of town to visit my sister, and I just got home today. Originally the plan was for him to go with me, but he told me he really needed the weekend to work on his project, which I didn't find suspicious at all. He knew what day and what time I would be coming home. Yet when I got into our home, the kitchen hadn't been cleaned from what was obviously a romantic dinner, and when I got to the bedroom the sheets were a mess and a woman's lingerie was on the floor by the door. And his pants and their shoes were in the hallway, very obviously hastily taken off on the way to our shared bedroom, our shared bed, our shared everything in our sacred place. It just seems so Karel's. He knew what I would see and didn't even bother to clean up. Did he really think I'd stay? Did he really think I just wouldn't care? He's not picking up my calls, and when I texted him I realized he'd blocked me. If he was into someone else, why didn't he just say that? Why would he let me find out in the most hurtful way in the world? Even worse, I know who the girl is because she left her jewelry, and it's someone who I was insecure about when our relationship first started, but that I got over the longer we were together. I don't know what to do. I had to get out of our home, so now I'm just crying on my front lawn. I'm too mortified to call anyone close to me, and a million thoughts are running through my mind. What am I going to do with the baby? I can't even imagine trying to co-parent with him after a betrayal like this. Why did he do this? What changed? Did he get bored of me? Why wasn't I enough? Why her? Why me? What am I going to tell people? How am I ever going to trust someone again? Where am I going to live? Which of our mutual friends will choose him? Does this mean I can't be friends with his sister anymore? Just so many questions with zero explanations. I can't even put into words how soul-damaged, emotionally crushed, and absolutely wrecked I am. I'm so hurt I can't even talk about it. I can't even call my therapist. So now I'm typing it all out because I just had to tell somebody what was happening, even if it was strangers on the internet. Update 1 mini update. Hey everyone, thank all much for the kind words. Sorry I haven't responded to any comments or anything, but really I was just so overwhelmed. I ended up calling my therapist, and currently, I'm staying with my best friend, but just for a few days until I can get a flight to where my parents live. My therapist recommended that I leave this situation off the internet, and usually I would listen to her, but I know some of you genuinely do care to hear what happens to me, so I'm going to post the final update probably tomorrow if I'm not too devastated, or the day after. After that, I will most likely delete my account. First thing first, I am keeping the baby. Where I live I'm too far along to get an abortion. The time span to get one is really short. I'm currently 2 months, and I haven't started showing. My ex-fiancé didn't notice because the birth control I take makes me not have a period. But if I'm being completely transparent, I probably would have kept this pregnancy anyway. Second, I took pictures like all of you suggested, and I'm meeting a lawyer later this week. Third, I called his sister and I have no idea what he told them about me. But I've never heard her have so much venom, like what she had on that phone call with me. I told her what happened, and she wasn't shocked at all and said in this exact wording, "Wow, You really haven't figured out why he did this to you at all, have you?" And then, as she was telling me to never call anyone in their family again, I had to shout over her that I was pregnant in case she blocked me. I could hear the shocked silence, and told her I would literally piss on a stick in front of her if she didn't believe me. I think she could tell from my voice that I was telling the truth, and told me that she would get her brother to meet me at the house later today to talk. And that I had to tell him I was pregnant myself, and she wouldn't do that burden for me. She then abruptly hung up. His sister and I have always been close, and I remember how I used to wait all day in the hospital when she was getting treated for her breast cancer. I have no idea what could have made her hate me this much, what lies he could have told her. I just cried so much after this phone call. My best friend is going to go over with me when I talk to him, and she's going to wait outside in the car. See you guys tomorrow or later this week. I'm reposting this because I've gotten some comments saying they couldn't see my update. I think it got taken down because I mentioned the abortion laws where I live. I'm not trying to push any political agenda, or cause a hot topic in the comments. I'm just being truthful about the area in which I live. Sorry that I'm posting later than I said I would, but I ended up having a miscarriage because of the stress and needed time to process. Final update. When I got into our home, my fiance was very callous and cruel. He berated me and would not let me get a word in. He screamed at me that I needed to drop the victim act, or else he would tell all my friends and family the truth about me. I asked how could I be playing the victim when he's the one who cheated and then let me find out in an abusive, disgusting, and psychotic way. Before I get into the rest of this update, I feel like some background information is needed. Before I got with my fiancé, my hair was completely virgin. It was a brown color that looked red in the sunlight and photos that I loved, and his was pink. When we got close, I learned that it was pink in support of his sister who got diagnosed with breast cancer. About 8 months in, I decided to dye my hair pink for his sister's upcoming breast cancer surgery. Him and his entire family was touched by the gesture, and everyone ended up dyeing their hair pink before her surgery. My fiancé was especially touched because he knew how much I really liked my natural color. After his sister went into remission, we started to doing cute matching couple hair of all different colors. When we visited my friend a couple weeks ago, she was making a video of memories from over the years because one of our friends' big 30 is coming up and she plans to show it at the party. After we came home from her place, this was when I first noticed he was off. He saw a video on her computer of me with very bright red hair, which is not my natural color even in the sunlight, which is maybe a shade red above auburn. Before I go any further, this video was from mid-2019 before we got together, and was not real dye. It was one of those non-bleach, non-damage hair waxes that come out after a single wash. In this video, I'm making out with a former male friend of mine. We were bar hopping and you can see us in the back kissing as we're walking to the next bar. Last summer, my fiancé and I dyed our hair bright red like what's on the video, and he thought that I had cheated on him because he knows my hair was virgin before I dyed it pink in support of his sister. While we were arguing, he kept telling that I had cheated first, and that my F***king hair was red, and that's how he knew that I had cheated with old male friend's name, that I cut off because we'd slept together once before I got with my fiancé, and that made him uncomfortable. And that he'd saw it all on my friend's name, computer. And that's why he slept with his female friend, because he'd wanted me to hurt like he did. I kept yelling at him that I had never cheated on him, and had genuinely no idea what the hell he was talking about. I was so confused, upset, hurt, and angry that I started cramping in the middle of our shouting fest. My fiancé thought I was faking it until a large amount of blood started coming from private area. He called the ambulance, and my friend came inside to check if I was okay because I'd been there for a while at this point. At this point, I hadn't even gotten the chance to tell him I was pregnant, and my friend had to do so as I yelled out in agonizing physical pain. The ambulance came in 11 minutes, but by the time I reached the hospital, it was too late. My baby was gone. From there, word got out, and my friend, the one with the video, heard about everything, and she came and showed him proof that the video he was talking about was from before we were together and taken in mid-2019. She showed me too, because up until that point I had completely forgotten about that night, and had no idea what he was talking about. I then explained to him that it was just hair wax. I'm devastated about the baby. Despite everything, I truly wanted to keep it, and I feel so hollow now. So wrecked. I don't know what to do about my relationship. He has genuinely apologized to me, and I know he only did what he did because he thought I had cheated on him. But I don't know if I'll ever be able to get over this. If I'll always resent him for the miscarriage. But I still love him so much, and I still can't even imagine life without him. Before his mother learned the truth, she made a scathing Facebook post about me and my cheating, and since then his entire family has all formally apologized to me, but I'm still getting calls from extended family members and friends who still haven't heard the truth, calling me hurtful things and telling me I deserved my miscarriage, and that's what I got for trying to baby trap him. It's another kick to my already broken soul. And as of right now, my social reputation is in tatters because of the post. My fiance, or rather ex-fiance, wants to make one big post just addressing everything, but I honestly don't even have the energy, and I can't imagine of all this drama for all of our loved ones to see that cut me so deeply just plastered on Facebook. His mom has tried to call, but I've been declining all of them because also in her post she added some really nasty things she didn't like about me before she found out about the cheating that I didn't know she felt about, and I just feel really hurt about every mean thing she wrote about my personality, looks, character, depression and anxiety episodes, and past. I'm currently staying with parents in an Airbnb because I felt like I had to confront everything's front on and stay here, but they wanted to be here to support me. Guys, I thought I was broken before, but I'm going to be completely candid and say that I've considering not living since the miscarriage. A part of me also feels like my relationship, which I loved more than myself, is over, which just makes me feel so sick. So many things are being said about me and all I want to do is disappear, but I know that I can't for the sake of the people I love, and I won't.